Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another special episode of That East Meets West. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy. Like, it's your other boy. Am I pointing right? Subscribe. Your boy Mike and Con, we here. Um, how do I should I apologize to the people for my
Did you miss
absent
us?
for my
Did you miss us, ladies and
absenteeism? It's
gentlemen? There
because
you
of me.
go.
I done been through heat exhaustion, illness, father going through, like, man, I could throw everything on y'all. Life's been lifing, but basketball still been doing this thing too. Basketball never stops. So we just wanted to tap in with y'all with a few like important topics going on in the WNBA, and that's Napheesa Collier, aka M-V-Phee. Yeah, shout out
That's
to Asia
right.
Wilson. We know you got it, but Napheesa Collier. And also we wanted to have a little Aces talk. So how you feeling today, Con? How you feeling? How you feeling? How you feeling?
I mean, this is like the rare day off for the WNBA, right? So we're
Yeah,
recording.
definitely.
It was this Thursday, August 29th.
Hmm.
Yesterday was like the big slate, had like 5 games, and
Yeah.
today is like the rest
And
day.
three of them were like at the same damn time. Like
I know,
I
I
was trying to
know,
watch
I
them
know.
all, but I only got to watch like two and a
As the
half.
league grows, I suppose their scheduling will improve too. But
Yeah.
it's really interesting now, right? I mean, we're for the most part we're approaching the home stretch. If this is
Yeah.
already the home stretch of the regular season, I think like every team has around what 9 games left of the
Yeah.
regular season. And as you said, Napheesa Collier and her Minnesota Lynx and Asia Wilson, the Las Vegas Aces. I mean, the Aces don't eventually like they don't officially have like that check mark next to their name in the standings, right? So they haven't officially qualified for the playoffs.
Right.
But I think you can already see the standings are starting to separate the teams that are likely going to be lottery bound. I mean, there could be some movement, now that
Washington.
Atlanta, right, has gone
Page.
a lot healthier. But yeah, it's really interesting coming back from the All Star / Olympic break.
Yeah.
Um, what changes, if anything, we would see to those two teams?
Yeah.
They've both been like two of the top teams in the Western Conference, but
But
seems like the momentum is very different, very different
yeah.
for each team. So, yeah, why don't we start off as you said, right? I mean, if you've been following our pod, East meets West. Michael and I, we have been big proponents of Napheesa Collier,
Yeah.
right, and her
Yeah.
MVP case.
Yeah.
So actually, let's start off here. Uh, I believe
Mhm.
they are they're undefeated, right? Since coming back from the break,
Mm-hmm.
um, they've essentially controlled every game,
Yeah.
with the exception of last night's game. Fee has pretty much been like the statistical leader in almost every category.
Yep.
Um,
And
and
I've mentioned
yet,
that too, that they don't
you
need
know,
for her to do that before.
um,
Hmm.
you said to open this episode that I mean, obviously, you and I have given Fee her flowers all throughout the season. I know you, even before the season, believed she would likely be in the hunt, at least
Yeah.
in the discussion for MVP.
Yeah.
Yet you still said it's gonna go to Asia. Are you still? Do you still believe that? Like, do you still
Yeah.
believe it's no,
Yeah.
no
She
question?
just dropped 40 what? 340 what? Like, she got the award, but I mean, unless they start going by record like the NBA. But I mean, even then, um, it's not it's more of a collective around Fee. It's more of Cheryl Reeve. It's more of the teammates. It's more of acquiring Courtney Williams. It's more of Alana Smith stepping up. It's more of McBride shooting good this year. It's more, it's a collection, or as I've been calling them for the last 2 years, it's by committee. I've been calling
Mhm.
them by committee team. Like, who was saying that they got a lot of front court players? I don't know if that was a podcast or like I was watching the game and they said that, but it doesn't matter because their front court players are multifaceted. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, they can pass the ball. So if you have a bunch of front court players, that means if you're not shooting their lights out, you're probably going to lose. And it's only one team that we know, just off the top of our heads, that's included in this episode, that is capable of shooting lights out. I mean, the Liberty probably can. I mean, I don't know if it's devastating shooting. You know what I mean? Like the Aces could do, but from what we've seen historically over the last couple of years, it was the Aces because they are the ones that turned the game up high octane and turned it into just shoot 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 Aja Wilson. Aja Wilson, Aja Wilson, shoot, 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 shoot. Chelsea, 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 killing you. Oop, oh, where I'm at? Oh, you think I'm gonna miss? No, I'm not. And that's different for them this year. But for Minnesota, for Fee, for the Lynx, it's just by committee. I mean, I'm trying to think of another way to term it, but it's just by committee. It's like all facets. And then if you think you're shutting down one thing, you're actually not. And they have the ability for, like you said, Fee was off finally for once, but they still won. You know what I mean? And then you look at the box score, or you just watch the game, and it's just like this person did this person did that, this person, and it's a beautiful sight to see, man, in basketball because, and it would be nice for them to win a championship because of how they're playing because they kind of symbolize what the Aces have been. They're kind of carrying it on, but it's more, I guess, less of a superstarish kind of feel, you know what I mean? Where it's not like, Aja and Chelsea at the top of her game and Kelsey Plum at the top of her game and Jackie's coming along. It's just like Fee and wait, who? Alana Smith. Bridget Carlton. Oh, McBride.
Kayla.
Williams. Yeah, like it's like it's people that they're not household names. I'll say that. You know what I mean? So it's kind of giving me more of a Spurs type vibe. Not to keep on bringing up an NBA team, but it's giving me a Spurs vibe from the past and in the past times. Like they were the constant because of how they were built, and it was they had a Tim Duncan, they had a Tony Parker, Ginobili, but those players would alternate what their roles would be on a need basis, you know what I mean? And they would develop that, but make sure that it's still intact with what needed to be done for whoever they were playing, whatever series they went into, whatever. And that's what we see from Fee. Like Fee can go drop 30 on you, but then she can drop 14 on you and still win the game because she's affecting other things on the floor. You know what I mean? And I think that bodes well for them going forward because for her to not be the type of player that's egotistic and carrying herself like, well, I am the best player on this team, so y'all should just feed me and then fit in around that. It's more like we're gonna get it how we gonna get it. If I'm hot, then we will ride my hand. But in the meantime, we just gonna get it how we get it, and we have players that have the ability to do that.
I
Yeah.
don't think I disagree with anything you just said.
I mean, because
But then couldn't I also use everything you just said as the case for why she should be MVP?
I mean, because without her, that wouldn't be happening.
Exactly. I feel like you've just proven again. I mean, let's be real. I am. See, the thing is, I think, make no mistake, Aja Wilson is deserving. She likely will be MVP.
Yeah.
However, it's kind of becoming interesting because we assumed at the beginning of the year, given how dominant the Aces were as a team these last 2 seasons, right? And kind of picking up where she left off last year, that, if you're the most dominant player on the most dominant team, it should be a no-brainer. But I'm not saying that their woes lately is because of her. No. But for that same reason, you're saying that Fee, the cast around her are not household names. Like, to casual fans. You're right. They're not, premium names yet,
Right.
Yet.
Right. I mean, the Aces
are.
had 4.
The Aces literally had their current starting lineup, right? Were all in the Olympics because Megan Gustafson
was in
the Olympics,
right? And
what I'm saying?
It was just Fee. Exactly. We're on the same way with that.
So,
yeah.
Wait, again, it's overly simplistic, but I'm just saying, right? If the train of logic, it's like, well, wait a minute, right? If we're saying that Asia has all these like star players around her, right, and they're kind of a middling team, really, these last 2 months, right?
Yeah.
You know, then does that make her automatically like still like the MVP?
I mean,
Because
go ahead. Go ahead.
you
Keep
know,
going.
no, I mean, it's not to just pat ourselves on the back. I think earlier in the season, when we brought this up on one of our first episodes,
Mhm.
it was framed as like the long shot candidates, the MVP who would be an MVP if Asia or Breanna Stewart didn't exist,
Right.
right? Like they had no chance.
Right.
And I don't know, like because as you said, right, she is still Phee. She is the catalyst of everything the Lynx are doing,
Right.
right? As you said last night, no, she was not uh, a prolific scorer, but everything that we saw in the Olympics, now it's like that momentum she's taken with her, right?
Yeah.
She's somehow an alpha, but also a Swiss Army knife at the same time,
Right.
you know? Um,
She understood the assignment. She was the Devin
yeah,
Booker of this Olympic team, but in her own iteration, more of a
yeah, yeah,
defensive Devin. As far as just she came understanding, she came being the starter she is, but understanding that she needed to play a role.
yeah.
She has that ability. You know what I mean?
Because I mean, I don't know. Like I said, right? I mean, again, Asia Wilson's having a freaking fantastic season,
Yeah.
right? It's just, is it because the consensus, ourselves included, like we kind of automatically crowned her the MVP early, that it's not even discussion anymore? Because
Right.
other candidates, like they've kind of tapped out,
Right.
like they've kind of petered out. Whereas Fee's only getting stronger and stronger, right, as the season goes on. I don't know. It's an interesting case.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, let me ask you right now, just
I
real quick.
I was gonna flip it. Go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
oh,
Cause
go no, no, go ahead.
no. Go ahead. Cause I'm gonna flip it. We about to turn this
Just
into
real quick,
a
and it's
broader
gonna go
episode.
into eventually. We'll circle back because it's gonna go into the Aces talk.
Yeah.
But just right now,
Yeah.
who, if you had to pick between the two of them to win the championship, who would you pick? Who do you think is
Right now,
right now?
like today, right now,
Yeah, today.
Lynx.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's my point,
Yeah.
right? It's sometimes like the whole voter mentality, right?
Mhm.
Like you kind of had the idea imprinted early on that now
Mhm.
it's hard to move off of it, and it's like what is actually happening in the present. I understand you can't go back in time, but like if Fee had been balling like this from the start, would it not have been a more competitive like MVP
Um,
race?
I mean, that's hard to tell
It
because
is.
the
It is.
Alyssa Thomases of the world was balling hard from the start. Like they
Yeah.
started off undefeated. You know what I mean? And then what happened? So if he had that kind of start and then did the same thing, would they she tank harder? Because nobody's talking about Alyssa Thomas this year like they were last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She still's been performing like she performed last night. She had a few games that were, kind of un Alyssa Thomas like, but she's still been Alyssa Thomas. Not necessarily last year's version, but she's still been Alyssa Thomas. And people just once they started losing, people really dragged the hell out of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and I wanted to flip it by saying, okay, so as much as we are crowning Fee, Breanna Stewart has actually kind of done something slightly similar where she's not worried about getting hers. She get hers when it's needed. Like she has a 30-point game when it's needed. She has a 18-point game when it's needed. You know what I mean? But she fills in the gaps accordingly. So not to say that she's out of the picture because she's third to me, but like how was I going to phrase this? How was I going to put this? Like, because we're saying with Aja being the Lone Star or looking like the Lone Star, even though she has the more household names. You could say that Liberty have household names. I mean, we know what John Quill is. Sabrina's had her like superstardom and or her stardom, and then people started hating her. You know, first they love you, then they hate you, then they love you, then they hate you. You know, Jay Z.
They hated Sabrina.
Yeah, they hated Sabrina like hell last year, just
Oh,
for stupid stuff like
yeah.
getting the damn 2K cover before.
I kind of
Okay,
phased that out.
they
Yeah,
hated
I
it
didn't really
because
pay.
she
Okay.
got it before Aja. You know, because they were like, well, Aja is doing this, and it was just like, oh, so why? It's like Sabrina and Caitlin Clark kind of switch roles this year because now Caitlyn's in
Yeah.
that place,
Okay.
and
Now I get it. Yeah.
it's like Caitlyn's in that place, but instead she's being elevated. Sabrina was in that place, and it was like, no, why is she here? You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna go into it right now because you know people whoever want to take shots at us take shots, but or at me, you know, for saying that. But it just is what it is. But like this year, yes, Sabrina has stepped up. They have found ways to kind of fill John Quill in more seamlessly, where she's not on the court frowned up. You know what I mean? And Breanna Stewart is a big reason why. Like she's kind of had a slight step back a little bit as far as how much output she's trying to push or put in, I should say, because it's not required. They've had time together. They understand each other better. They've had that team together. They brought in more pieces, like different pieces that actually fit more and make it a stronger glue. So like just if I look at the Lynx and the Liberty, it's just like, you know, is okay. So then it just me saying that and then bringing it to you, who's been more of that player for you, but the better one between Napheesa Collier and Breanna Stewart?
Fee.
Okay. I mean, I already knew that anyway, but I
No,
just wanted
because
to plug the links
see,
in for all the Breanna Stewart
again,
fans, and
again,
because
you
it's
know,
kind of the same. Yeah,
well, I think both of us pride ourselves on not just looking at superficial,
yeah,
numbers
yeah.
or
Nah, it's
narratives or tropes.
continuity and all types of stuff involved in this.
Right. It's
Yeah,
just the thing is, for example, like on I think it was on NBA TV the other day.
yeah,
Like, let's be real, right? Sabrina is kind of cooled off, like she
yeah.
hasn't been
Slightly.
horrible. She's
Yeah,
actually had good games. She just starts out slow
yeah,
since the Olympic break, or since the Olympics. But the point is everyone's kind of saying like she's cooled off to the point where she's not really in MVP conversations.
right. I
And
mean,
right, we've said it here on this pod too, right?
that might be team
We
based.
well, yes, yes. But the
Yeah,
point is, she was definitely playing at a level where that. Remember that we would have these discussions, right? Who was actually the Liberty MVP prior to the All Star break? And a case could be made that it was Sabrina. And
right.
see, again, I know that might be an oversimplification, but for that reason, that's why no, like this season, I haven't really uh had like really truly believed Stewie had a shot at the MVP because, as you said, right, she is playing a more egalitarian, game.
Yeah,
You know, she hasn't. It has not been heliocentric, or anything like At times, it has been throughout her career. And that's not a bad thing, but for that reason, hasn't stood out as much, as
yeah,
Fee or definitely as Asia Wilson.
right.
So, but I know I think that's a good point. Because now she has recently looked like reigning MVP
Yeah,
Stewie,
yeah,
but I
yeah.
think in her case, in this case, I think it is too late
I,
to make
I,
a true run at the MVP. Like she'll get like some, second or third place votes. I don't, you
I
think?
anticipated that she would be after seeing a few of the Olympic games that she would be making a bigger case going forward. You know what I mean?
Well,
Just seeing how clutch she was and the type of thing she was doing, the type of way she was like tying the game together, like as the game went along, like yeah, as the games went along in the Olympics. I'm talking about the Olympics, people, but yeah, because Asia was everybody knew about Asia. It's just like okay, we got to crowd the hell out of her. So Breanna Stewart picked up those pieces where Asia was looking kind of junky a little bit. You know what I mean? But then coming back
well,
to the WNBA is like, yeah, y'all can't handle me, even though y'all do know. y'all do have game plans. Y'all have seen me for years, but you know, the Olympic teams, they have things that they could throw at us that we haven't seen, that we can't predict, and they know
Yeah.
what I'm gonna do. Whereas Breanna Stewart, it's not that. I mean, Breanna Stewart just, I don't know. It is no explanation other than she was able to do a lot more, probably because of that. You know what I mean? So, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it's still Breanna Stewart. So yeah, that's the best way to put it, without discrediting anybody, either one of them.
I mean, it's interesting uh, that I think there were some valid concerns, amongst fans for the players that participated in the Olympics,
Yeah,
especially if you're getting like substantial minutes. Would you be coming back when the WNBA season resumed? Would you be coming back on tired legs? You know,
right.
and
Yeah,
yet I would say that both Fee and Stewie have looked completely reinvigorated. Not that they were
yeah,
ever not vigorated.
yeah,
What I'm saying? But
yeah.
like, which actually I think maybe this is a nice way to segue. Is like we were saying earlier, Fee seems to only be gaining more momentum, you know, ramping up. Stewie too. They are peaking at the
At the
right
right
time.
time. Yeah, and
In
Asia's,
contrast,
not saying
in
that Asia
contrast,
isn't, but yeah.
the Aces, if they're not trending down, they're definitely stuck in the mud. That's for sure.
I
So
mean, this the last part I'll add to that is that, well, we're about to. I mean, well. I guess we are already kind of talking about the Aces, so it's not
we are
that we're
talking
gonna
about the Aces.
go into it. Since we, I
Oh
mean, it's
no, no.
just it's pretty
You
much
want?
combined episode. It's just Fee, Aces, and I mean, I guess a little bit of just MVP and playoff talk, but um. I was gonna say that the Aces are that team. You know, we've seen these teams, and it's not been many. And here I go having a reference to NBA again, unless I reference the Houston Comets or something like that. But uh, like, how many teams win three in a row? I just actually was listening to XM radio today for like however long I was. It was a short amount of time. But the one thing I did hear from like Antonio Daniels was it's not a lot of, like, the last time we've seen an actual dynasty that had an actual three-peat was 2000 to 2003. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's hard to three-peat. It's absolutely hard to three-peat. Like, and then before that, it was what? The Jordan teams. You know what I mean? So, and now, and then in WNBA, uh, like, how many three-peats have we seen? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's not, it's no. Did the Comets even do it? Like, do I recall that? I think they won two, lost one. Like, or did they win three, lose one, win one? How did that go? How did, I don't know. I was a kid during that time. Let's do a little brush up for real. No, this is student of the game time. You know what I mean? But I just feel like it's hard to just come in and out of the season every season, having to figure out, since you're the best thing going, what pieces that you actually need to add to what you have going on to be prepared for what someone is countering. So you're pre-countering a counter that you haven't seen yet. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yes.
oh yeah, I'm gonna grab this boxing glove because whatever they do, I'm just gonna use that boxing glove. Yeah, right. But they got a boxing glove that shoots out multiple boxing gloves now that hits you from different directions on some Doctor
Okay.
Strange multiplying his body type of stuff. Like, you know what I mean? It's you can't predict what type of punches are going to be thrown your way, what teams are going to do. Like, who would have knew that the Connecticut Sun were going to get Marina Mabry? And I don't think that that's even like ironed out. That's, of course, it's not ironed all the way out because they just got her. But what if all of a sudden they just hit a stride in the playoffs and Marina's gluing a little bit better than what they had with Rachel, and then not having Mariah Jefferson over there? You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's just, you. I mean, three-peats are hard. They just are. They just are. You know what I mean? Like, Miami didn't do it. The Warriors didn't do it because even injuries happen. Like, and for the Aces, that's really kind of what happened. It was injuries. It was a change of roles that hasn't been ironed out yet. That probably, and since we talking about that, let's go ahead and reiterate to the people exactly what you said about the Jackie Young needing to take the reins thing. While
Well,
I do
first of
my
all,
little, uh,
yes,
oh, they did won four in a row. Sorry. I'm foul. WNBA
well, hey,
WNBA fans, I was a kid at this time.
true, hey,
I'm
that's
not gonna
okay.
say my age, but I was a kid, and my
I'll give you.
cousins and her girl used to go outside and play basketball with me and my best friend Chris, and they beat us once, and played a lot of basketball with us. Like that's what got me into the WNBA was my cousin, and her and her friends. Like oh,
Oh,
the girls can do it too. Yeah, that got me into. I mean, of course, my father too, because when it came along, he was talking about Cheryl Miller and stuff like that, but yeah, like I've been here since then, but I still am a student of the game. You know what I mean? But go for it with your Jackie in Chelsea.
honestly, I think the early days of the WNBA, when it was televised, I
Yes.
would watch, but I didn't actually start actively looking out for it until that one episode of Martin.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When they played team Dawn and all of them
Yeah.
on the court and they act hurt and all that. Yeah.
Epic game, man, or epic episode, dude. Freaking
Okay.
epic episode.
Yeah.
No, but okay. Again, I don't disagree with anything you just said,
Hmm.
but right,
Hmm.
they are the reigning champions.
Right.
So no one is. I mean, of course, there are haters that are going to just be like critical and hate, and feed off negativity. I understand that, but
Right.
I'm just saying, like, for us to have like a real basketball discussion, I acknowledge, yes, a three-peating is hard. Three-peating is hard, and you
Yeah.
feel like you said, going back to the NBA, you see that Last Dance documentary. It
Right.
wasn't easy. It wasn't
No.
easy, you
No.
know. But my point is, no one is saying that it isn't hard for the Aces to pull off a three-peat, but we're looking for them, but we can't excuse them. You know what I'm saying? Right? Like that can't just be a simple excuse. Oh, it's hard. Well, yes, we know it's hard. What I'm looking for at least is some solutions, you know,
Yeah.
because like for example, poker. They're the Aces, right?
Right.
Poker. You play Hold'em, right? You know how freaking like
Hmm.
exciting it is, like how you have to keep a poker face when you get dealt pocket aces. You play
I
poker long
love
enough,
Hold'em.
everybody has a bad beat, right?
Yeah.
But the worst thing, especially if for whatever reason you get pushed to go all in pre-flop
Right.
and your aces get cracked, that's the worst. Like, to me, that's one of the most disheartening thing to hear from the dealer, right? Ace is no good. And right now, I think a lot of fans are saying that exact sentiment. The aces are no good. That they're broken. Because now it seems like everything that Becky, and I'm not trying to say Becky Hammon is incompetent. It's just, it seems like everything that they're trying, it's not working, right? Or at least the things, right? As you said, Chelsea Gray, it might be lazy, but earlier in the season, when the offense would kind of have some lulls at times,
Yeah.
right? And saying, okay, well, when Chelsea Gray comes back, right, this will move a little. It'll be more efficient. It'll be a lot more smooth. That has not happened. That has not materialized, right?
Yeah.
Um, whether it's was it Alicia Clark, right?
Hmm.
Right. I'm just saying they're tinkering with the other forward spot or the other front court spot,
As
right?
they should.
And right, like the defense is still struggling, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess what I'm trying to say is, what's wrong? What's wrong, and what do we think they could do to solve it? I'll start off in saying,
Hmm.
and if our listeners or viewers have watched our previous episodes, yes, I am a Megan Gustafson fan.
Yeah, me too.
But I do
It's
think
crazy how she went
I think
from.
you can make an argument that maybe Becky Hammon is just trying any combination now to see what works. Maybe if
Yeah,
you want to say it's kind of like an out of desperation,
right.
but I do think this is in the right direction. I think that's one move that needs to be made or continue. All right, so they've done it for 2 games now, but still, right? I mean, no offense to their opponents, right? But they've taken some L's to arguably some inferior competition, or at least less experience. Let's put it that way: less experienced competition.
So what
You
were
know.
the Dallas Wings last year? Were they inferior?
Well, I mean, well, yeah.
Oh
But
damn!
I
Because
mean,
they're Dallas.
no, I mean, but again, I mean, like, you know, saw two. I mean, okay, for example, there. I mean, he had a double-digit lead. Right. I think they were almost like what up 20 points at one point,
Yeah,
late third, early fourth.
yeah.
That's my point. Like, okay, I want to make it clear. Like with the Megan insertion into the starting lineup, I understand, right? Like from game to game, it'll be inconsistent with regards to like how many like touches she gets offensively. That's to me, that's fine,
Right.
right? I think they need more front court defense, you know, which is why I have been an advocate, you know.
A part of me feels like yes, but at the same time, they have Meg, they have Kia Stokes, and they have a rookie. I forget her name. I forget her name. They like signed her, and I thought she was actually going to get playing time, but I don't
What,
like.
Kate Martin?
No, not Kate. It's
Yeah.
somebody else. And like they just haven't. It's just been Aja or nothing. You know what I mean? And I think that they need. I feel like a lot of the people that were calling them a super team last year because they had to acquire Candace Parker, we're seeing now why they needed Candace Parker. You know what I mean? So shout out to Candace Parker for sure. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah,
But let's be honest,
yeah.
she was not a factor at all in their playoff run.
Mm,
In their playoff run.
I mean, not on the floor, but I feel like Candace. I feel
No,
like
I'm not
Candace.
saying that like her guidance isn't, but I'm talking about
Oh
right.
yeah.
That's the
Oh yeah.
thing, right? Like because at a certain point, like I don't, not to be like a hard ass, but like I think these are okay. If excuses is too much of a negative word, explanations. There are plenty of explanations as to why they're not working.
Right.
They just seem to be lacking any solutions.
Well. I don't think it's a lacking of solutions. I think it's a lacking of what you said. They need to make an adjustment. You know what I mean? Like not every team is championship, and then boom, you get an injection of another like just star player that just makes it. You know what I mean? End all be all, or that you are already so strong that you can suffer injuries because that's where teams that are trying to three-peat fall apart. Like it's truly injury. I honestly believe that it's just the Chelsea Gray injury. I do because she
Wait, say it
hasn't.
again.
I believe it is the Chelsea Gray injury. Like it hurt them because she hasn't been here the entire season, and like that's affected them because they haven't had her on the floor to withstand all of these punches. They don't have the continuity anymore because Jackie has elevated, Kelsey has elevated as far as what their roles are. Aja has elevated. You know what I mean? So it's gotten to a point where they gotta. I mean, so who's Aja? I guess would have to kind of understand. Okay, you see Breanna doing what she doing. You see Fee doing what she doing. Is there a part of your game that you can draw back, and most people would think it's on the offensive end, that's going to
I
help
disagree.
this? I disagree too, but
Yeah.
most people like the new fans would think that it's on the offensive end if they had to been if they've been asked that question. They like, oh well, AJ Wilson, she's the best scorer. Well, her team's not winning while she's doing all the scoring. Maybe she shouldn't take so many shots or something like that. But it's like, yeah, she's 18 for 24. Fuck, what you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, but is there something else that she could do, or is there an expansion within her game that like I don't know where I'm about to go with this. Let me just stop while I'm ahead because this is
Do you think
going.
Chelsea Gray is on the team next year?
Yeah, I do because I just think
A lot of
the
media and
injury.
fans would disagree with you.
Nah, they could disagree, but I think Chelsea Gray. I think she's there. She's there.
I mean,
She might be the one that needs to take a different role. She might be the one that needs to be playing the Fee or the Breanna Stewart adjustment role as far as adjusting her game around whatever and maybe coming in getting staggered if she starts or if she comes off the bench all of a sudden she's the anchor for another different unit. You know what I mean? That
yeah.
allows that second unit to feed off of her, especially if she gets back to her full speed. Because I don't think she's at full health. I look at her and it's like, yeah, she's shown some flashes. Like in that last game, some of the shots that she put up, it was like, oh, that's a Chelsea Gray shot, but she missed it. You know what I mean? And maybe I'm having flashback from that Seattle Storm series, but um, is it, I'm starting to see a little bit more of her willing to do certain things that I haven't seen in her earlier games than when she came back. And then hell, even just fresh off the Olympics, like it's been a progressive thing. Like she's been getting better game to game. So she's there. She'll be there. Why cut her? Who you gonna replace her with?
Well, I didn't say cut her today.
No, I mean, but at the end of the season, okay, season over, next season, enter into the next season, you're not getting Paige Becker, so why are we getting rid of Chelsea Gray?
Oh, that is going to be for our next episode,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because our lottery bound teams, oh man, they could see like a complete 180, depending
yeah,
who gets Paige.
yeah.
Well, we'll have some fun with that. But I think I agree. Like I said, I want to make it clear. I don't think they're a better team without Chelsea Gray. But I
No,
don't think they're not going to be a better team trying to be the team they were with last year's Chelsea Gray.
right.
Because even if some people think like this is her decline, you know,
Yeah,
she's kind of like broken this year. Okay, that might be true. But like we said, right, you're still high end depth at the very least. You're gonna need her out there.
right,
But like I said, I don't think they can continue to try to operate the way they have been the last two seasons.
right.
That's where going back to, so you were asking like, what have we been saying in previous episodes? Yeah, I think there needs to be, if the goal is to three-peat, then we
Mm,
got to maximize the players we have right now and the condition that they're in right now,
right.
you know, and that's why in my opinion, part of the reason of putting Megan Gustafsson in the starting lineup is to
To
try to
give it.
compensate for the lack of being able to contain at the point of attack.
Yeah. Mm,
Am I going to put that all on Chelsea? No,
yeah.
but I think they have struggled, which is why, right? Put
Yeah.
Asia as a second line defender, right? Then put Megan as the back line defender, or vice versa. You know.
They should have been trying to call Gabby Williams, but Gabby was like probably like, I don't want
Well,
to
I
go
mean,
to
right?
the damn defending champion.
Well, I think
Yeah.
what her Seattle ties.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. That too.
so
That's what I
I
really
mean, I
think
assume
at
that
the end
kind
of
of
the day.
went into it,
Yeah.
but I don't know, man. Um, we'll see. They got 9 games to figure this out. All right. I want to see them, right? I like the Aces.
It's on Chelsea.
I think she should go to the bench. I think put Alicia Clark back in the starting lineup.
Hmm. Okay. I
Jackie,
mean,
Kelsey Plum, Alicia Clark, Asia, Megan Gustafsson. Because here's the thing.
that'll be interesting. So
Because
then Chelsea, Tiff Hayes, Kia
they're
Stokes.
not,
Yeah.
they have not at any point been an explosive offense this season. Like,
Not if it's not. Well, no, they haven't.
no.
No.
Can they
A
be
few
with
games.
like Chelsea of last year or 2 years ago? Yes. But I
Yeah.
don't think we're going to get that this season, which is why I think they're more likely or more capable of being, I don't want to say maybe elite, but an above average defense than being an elite offense. Does that make sense? You know?
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And this makes it full circle for me. Like, okay, so thinking about where Chelsea was before and looking at it now, and then looking at Aja during those times, Aja was actually in the Breanna spot. She was in the Napheesa Collier spot where she was filling in,
Yeah.
being prominent in her role, but also being the superstar. And looking, I mean, she was basically, they were basically the MVPs. So this
Yeah.
makes a bigger case for Napheesa Collier being MVP. Honestly, it does. At the end of the day, like that's full circle for me. Like that's all I gotta say about it. Like, cause
Yeah.
it's that much more of the team is like spread out, more
Yeah.
thoroughly. It's not, you're not having lapses. But I mean, Jackie was still on the come up, but she was still around. Kelsey had her moments, but she was still like prominent in what she was doing too. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, other than that, yeah. I don't know. I feel like they're more likely to succeed by trying to make defensive improvements than offensive improvements. Because at the end of the day, right? I mean, everybody's playing off of Asia anyway.
Yeah.
I know that's again, it's oversimplification,
Right.
but I mean, at the very least, I think it would stagger the rotations way better, right? Where
Yeah.
when one of Jackie or Kelsey Plum sits, then Chelsea comes in, you
Hmm.
know, because I feel like that's the problem that Becky Hammond has been facing. Whether that's because trying to manage egos, or whatever. I mean, she's smarter than me, in terms of making these lineup decisions. But it always seems like it's just they can't find the balance of offense and defense,
I
and
agree.
games are being swung one way or the other, because of it. Um, because yeah, right. I mean, other than signing street free agents, I mean, the deadline's long past. This
Yeah.
is your team. That's my point. No one's saying it's not hard, but if you're gonna threepeat, you got to find a way to make this work, and time is running out. So
Hmm.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Will the aces get cracked? You know,
Uh-oh.
you know, you bluff the turn, you get caught in the river. So,
Yeah. Facts.
so
Yeah.
there we go. But yeah, I look forward to seeing that. Other than that, I guess before we wrap up, so just real quick, like what do you expect to see, or what are you looking out for from these two teams? I mean, I know there's other like prominent teams, Connecticut and everything, but it's just like given the way these two, especially
You gonna make me sound
they
like
were
a hater.
all no, I mean they were all just Olympic teammates. That's why and yet when they returned to the NBA, they're kind of going in opposite directions.
I want to see the Aces get to the fullest of their ability, and I want the Lynx to win the championship regardless. And if possible, sorry, Lynx fans. Yes, I do love the Aces. I do. I love Asia. I love everybody on their team. I love their team. I love them. But I wouldn't mind. I mean, if the Aces win, I wouldn't mind either. But I would love to see the Aces get to the fullest of their abilities. The Lynx come in, have to get matched up against them, whether it's before or in the finals, and win. That would be amazing. And I'll put the cherry on top by saying this is for Maya Moore. Shout out to Maya Moore on her
Ah,
jersey celebration. Maya Moore is my goat.
yes,
For Maya Moore.
easily one of the best players ever. Period.
Yeah,
Not just for
my
for
goat.
females, for the
My goat.
WNBA.
It
Period.
was it
Yeah.
was Cynthia Cooper before. It was between her and Cheryl for me before Maya Moore.
Well, I can
That's my
understand
goat.
that.
Yeah.
Part of the
So
reason why, like, I find myself, even when she was an assistant coach with the Spurs, like, I root for Becky Hammonds because she was one of my favorite players.
yeah.
You always like that scrappy underdog, right?
Yeah.
Everybody likes, but yeah, I would like to see the Lynx in the finals too.
Yeah.
But even though they weren't the main topic of this episode, I
They
have
have
the
to win.
Liberty. I have the Liberty winning the song.
Oh, okay, okay. Let's
Yeah.
see that. Let's see that.
So yeah.
Commissioner's Cup rematch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, right? You, that's the thing too. And that, again, make no mistake. Right? Well, the Liberty have had their fair share, right? I don't want to get too off topic. Let's wrap this up. All I'm saying is that's the thing, right? The Liberty played just as deep into the postseason as the Aces.
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
They also have had their share of injuries. Now, I'm not trying to say that they're equal and equally impactful. All I'm saying is we're at the point where you just got to make whatever you have, you got to make it work. And
right.
that's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying, right? It's the contrast. The Lynx, as you said, they are completely firing on all cylinders. They're finding a way to make it work.
Hmm.
Aces, not so much. So I'm hoping that they can have a quick turnaround.
Yeah, we shall see.
We
I'm I'm
shall. We shall.
I'm gonna watch out for it.
All right.
Yes, yes. So that's it. We're good.
We are good. I hope
Ladies
everybody
and gentlemen, yeah,
come
go
back and
ahead.
join us because I believe probably our next episode we're gonna go deep into this rookie class because I
Hmm.
think as we've seen, right, like my God, like it seems like almost every rookie that takes the court is having quite an impact, and not just Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese, not just those two. So it'll be really interesting as a kind of it's starting to show like the directions that the WNBA can go in these
Yeah,
next several years.
indeed. Agree.
Yeah. All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. With that being said, I'm gonna just send a special shout out to Snap and Becky. Shout out to y'all, Six Pod.
Shout out
Um,
Six Pod.
yeah,
We got you covered this week.
we've been vacationing. Um, yes, but at the end of the day, you see our names, you see them. Yes, follow us on Twitter. Follow us at EMW_pod as well. I think this is going to the streams again. So welcome back. For those of y'all that been missing out, just come watch us on the YouTube page. Go download it or something on some little like YouTube recorder thingy, like MP3 converter, and download it. Listen to it that way. But yeah, we're getting back to all of that. So follow us on Spotify. Follow us here, of course, on YouTube. We on iHeartRadio, all that, Apple Podcasts. It'll be back up and going. And yeah, thank you. Look forward to these next or to the final stretch. But yeah, be looking out for us to also have the rookie discussion as well.
Take care.
Take care. Good night.